Tether just became the world's newest gold buyer. Now they're converting profits into mining royalties. On July 8, 2014, three friends announced something called RealCoin from a Santa Monica startup office. 4 months later, Brock Pierce, Reeve Collins, and Craig Sellers rebranded it as Tether. The pitch was simple. One digital token equals $1, backed by actual dollars in a bank account. Nobody thought it would work, especially not the banks who kept closing Tether's accounts. Now it's 2025. Stablecoins, all of them combined, process more value annually than Visa. In 2024, stablecoins moved $27.6 trillion. Visa moved 15.7, MasterCard did 9.8. Tether alone is closing in on $1.5 trillion in monthly transaction volume, and moving money faster than Swift, cheaper than Visa, and without asking for permission. Here's how stablecoins actually work. You wire $100 to a stablecoin issuer's bank account. They mint 100 tokens to your wallet. These tokens trade freely until someone redeems them. Then they wire back your $100 and burn the tokens. The reserves sit in treasuries earning interest while the tokens move globally for pennies. Tether claims this is how USDT works. Circle's USDC proves it with monthly audits. The difference matters to investors and depositors because Tether made $13 billion in 2024, largely from treasury interest on $113 billion in reserves. But Tether still won't do a real audit. That's another deep dive story, but the market doesn't care. USDT dominates with $183 billion in circulation. Stablecoins are digital tokens that can also get backed by real-world stuff like dollars, treasuries, sometimes even gold. You can send one across the world in seconds. You don't need a bank. You don't need business hours. It's programmable money that works like email. The rails are here, and the world is starting to use the new tracks. Russia just did something nobody expected. After banning crypto in 2020, Russia legalized international stablecoin payments through licensed platforms in 2024. Not because they love innovation, because they need trade rails that bypass SWIFT and the dollar system. Canada, which usually trails regulatory trends by a polite 18 months, is finally waking up too. In October, they proposed their first national stablecoin framework that would be included in their upcoming budget, aiming to build rules without smothering the rails. Japan, they've already launched their stablecoin regime. The United States, it passed the Genius Act in July, forcing reserve audits, legal oversight, and real-world backing. The message is that this isn't fringe finance anymore. We're getting into regulated infrastructure. Genius stands for Guiding and Establishing National Innovation for U.S. Stablecoins. It mandates a one-to-one backing with dollars or treasuries, monthly audits, and gives banks the green light to issue their own stablecoins. These aren't experiments any longer. What about Visa? They stopped testing, and they've now started processing. The payment giant Visa didn't stop at just one test transaction. They turned it into a full-scale operation and made a massive announcement a few days ago. They've expanded their support to include 4 stablecoins: PayPal USD, USDG, EURC, and Circle's USDC across 4 blockchains, enabling users to exchange them for 25 national currencies. When a 66-year-old payment monopoly rebuilds its infrastructure for your technology, the experiment is over. With over 130 stablecoin-linked card programs in more than 40 countries, Visa's seen a 400% increase in volume year on year, reaching a $2.5 billion run rate. And they're not alone. Securitize, the biggest name in tokenizing real assets, is going public via a $1.25 billion deal with Cantor Fitzgerald's SPAC. Even Citi, JP Morgan, and BlackRock are experimenting with tokenized deposits and on-chain funds. 2025 is the year stablecoins went mainstream. This is the dawn of something big, and the eyeballs are trending up in the media. Press coverage skyrocketed with the market cap increase. That's where we are now. Stablecoin adoption is accelerating. So let's look at what's happening on-chain. In 2023, stablecoins processed around $280 billion in monthly volume. This year that's ballooned to $1.28 trillion, or the market cap of 3.5 Visas, and it's still growing faster. DEX trades, business payments, and cross-border settlements are piling in. This is becoming a type of financial internet, instead of just a niche playground for traders. And now it's growing a gold layer. Gold stablecoins, no central bank needed. If stablecoins are version 2.0 of money, gold-backed stablecoins are version 3.0. Instead of being tied to fiat and all the trust issues that come with it, they're pegged to real metal with some perks. It's vaulted, verified, and movable 24/7. Tether Gold and Pax Gold dominate the space right now. Each Pax Gold token represents 1 troy ounce of London Good delivery gold sitting in Brink's vaults, serial numbers included. You can take delivery in Singapore, London, or New York, or trade it at 3 a.m. like any other token. Between Pax and Tether, they've pulled in billions of dollars by issuing gold-backed stablecoins. Together with a few other players like Kinesis and Comtech Gold, they've built a $2.9 billion market from almost nothing. That size and growth matters for an important reason, because all of a sudden, it's growing faster than even traditional gold ETFs. Since September 2022, tokenized gold AUM has surged 206%, outpacing the 147% gain in traditional gold ETFs. With all this newfound riches, revenue, and profit, stablecoins have their sights set on resources and commodities. And now the acquisition spree begins. Tether, the same company behind USDT and XAUT, now owns 8% of Gold Royalty Corp, ticker GROY. This is a company we've once featured before as a Katusa Special Situations Alert, and up over 280% since February 2024. Paulo Arduino, Tether's CEO since October 2023, is using their profits, estimated at $13 billion in 2024 alone, to buy into physical commodity streams. And even foreshadowed his intentions to the Katusa Research audience on X a few weeks ago. Stablecoins aren't just digital money anymore. They're touching real assets, physical supply chains, and now even the mining industry itself. Stablecoins crossed the line of no return in 2024. They stopped being a crypto trading tool and became global payment infrastructure. For 50 years, we trusted fiat. Then came the debt, inflation, and dysfunction. So capital started looking for something better. Now Visa, MasterCard, JP Morgan, and Bank of America are building on the same transparent rails. The Genius Act gives them regulatory cover. Foreign countries are creating their own frameworks to avoid dollar dependence. The old system had one advantage: opacity. When Lehman Brothers was collapsing in 2008, nobody could watch their reserves drain in real time on a public blockchain. With stablecoins, every redemption is visible. Every bank run is broadcast. In the November issue of Katusa's Resource Opportunities, we dive deep into the digital currency wave, how it's reshaping global finance, rewriting payment rails, and kicking up serious dust in the gold mining industry. For now, just know this: with billions of dollars moving on-chain, the future of money is already here. You're not betting on cryptocurrency anymore. You're betting on which company becomes the new digital Federal Reserve.